guys, it's Carl from Studio Incar. It's been a little while. It's been a week or so since we've lost a memory card last week. So all the other work we've done for the past 2 weeks, you won't be able to see that, unfortunately. So check our Instagram. We've got something different today. Now, a lot of people, we get a lot of emails that say, I don't know if you want to work on my car, or I don't know if you would because of all the sort of fancy stuff that you do. Don't feel like that, okay? We work on absolutely anything, as long as we're given, the budget to do what you want us to do, of course. So today, and for the past week or so, we've had Ollie's Mk4. Now, you'll likely have seen Ollie on other YouTube videos of ours, his red B5 RS4, and him in person in some of the Caddy episodes, because he's quite close to the garage, and not in terms of distance, in terms of relationships, quite far away actually. But this Mk4, this ugly little Mk4 that I myself am guilty of telling him to get rid of, which is just plain snobbery when you look at the story, is Ollie's first proper car. So he's had this over a decade now. I don't know about you, but there's certain things that that you get attached to. My wife, for instance, is furious about my Astra GTE. She thinks I should sell it every time. Can't take it home, not allowed it on the drive, things like that. They get hold of you, the first proper car that you can mess around with, and you get sort of emotionally attached. Anyway, loads of mucking around, and we've personally found things that Ollie's done as an 18-year-old lad in this car and moaned at him about it. They're pretty much all gone now because 2 years ago, so 8 years into the ownership, he had a head-on collision in this. It didn't come from Volkswagen blue and silver with a smiley face on it. These are all parts from a breaker car, because he had a head-on collision which ripped the front end of the car off pretty much clean. It was I remember seeing it. Ollie was in a bit of a mess. The crash, he went to hospital after the crash. Couldn't get back into a car for a few months just because of it, because it really shook him up. And the car sat dormant for over a year, just being frowned at when it was walked past. You know what it's like if you've ever done something like that. Myself, again, have flipped a car end over end, and it sat outside my workshop for God knows how long, and it's just pretty sad. So anyway, so about a year ago, I suppose, it was zhuzhed back up. They got the loader to the house, took it to the workshop. I remember seeing it in Ollie's garage as an MOT garage, it was decided to put it back on the road. Again, I said that it was a stupid idea. Get rid of it, get something else, get another one and put your bit onto that one, is what I said. But he ignored me, as he does, and bought new parts, so from all over the world as well. So you can't buy things like chassis legs, inner arches, things like that, new from VW for the UK market. Anyway, he sourced all those bits, did it all himself, welded it all back together straight and true. The panels are from a breaker. Now, I know that Ollie has longevity when it comes to building cars. I know that it will be painted. I know that it will be done and finished. So anyway, that brings us up to probably about 6 months ago, and it was decided we started talking about a system. Now, as I say, you'll have seen Ollie through various videos. He's had a fair few systems with us. This will be the third version in this car. He's probably on the third or fourth version in the RS4. Just as he's climbed up the ladder and his benchmark has moved, we've been able to move with him and provide something better each time. So we decided that before it gets painted and before all of that stuff happens, that whilst it was being moved around and it's been put back into daily commission, that we get the system done. Now, this is a car that Ollie's kind of always used for years and years, and he's always used it to get to and from work. So it doesn't need to be anything fancy at all. It just needs to function, which is one of my favourite types of installation. There's don't get me wrong, I do like the sort of show element and the pride of ownership of things, hence, you know, what we build in some of our own stuff and things like that. But when it comes down to it and we're just looking for a good system and good sound, we can kind of be allowed to spend that time on the fabrication from an SQ point of view, rather than where it'll fit, where it'll go, where it's not going to compromise something and things like that. So we did, and we've built an SQ based system with Hertz Mille Legends in the front end, Audison AV5 1K and a Quattro bridged, which is our standard sort of recipe for higher end amplification. Isatar 1200 in a slightly oversized box, which is something that we do every time, and no show element at all. You'll see the install. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not ugly. I personally love it. It's my preferred type of installation. But yeah, don't judge the car for what it looks like and what every single person that's been in here over the past few weeks has said. Without knowing its struggle, its 10-year thing. You know, there's a big story to this car, which is what's kept me on board with doing something like this. And this is it's kind of its second lease of life, but it's multiple generations deep in terms of the evolutions of this little ugly Mk4. Let's take a look and let's have a little listen. I'm just going to take the boot panel out for you now so you can see what's going on underneath there. Alright.
Like Kiyosaki, of course it's me. A man known as the Master G. A fighting squad, sense the danger. When it's done about the rapping ranger. Had a little talk when I mix them in. You said, take those calls, fast educate to all you girls. And wanna join my tribe? Just move to my rhythm, feel my vibe. Put up a fuss in the AM agree. But when you come inside my TV, as I said before, you can sense the danger.
Quattro, vented panel, 5, and then the Isatar 1200 in there. That's it. Let me turn the stereo down. So as you can see in the back there, Isatar 1200, 51K, Quattro underneath it, and the vented panel between the two. That's quick release, so that can come off. You can service either amp. This sort of bracket section here is a wing nut for a quick release for the sub box, because as you've probably noticed, this the metallic tank in the back there, the car's on an air system, so he needs to be able to get underneath the box as quickly as he can, really. Not for any emergency or anything, but to be able to service it, it needs to be nice and simple to remove. Then the front, we've got enclosed 3-inch Mille, so the ML 700.3, I'm pretty sure it's called. Mille Legend mid-range. Got the Mille Legend mid-bass, can't see it behind the grills. And then we've got the Mille Legend tweeter in there. When these are shut, if I can just drop this window down, you should be able to see, that's the back window, you should be able to see that these two are on the same plane. So they are completely matched, which will give us the best sort of natural alignment, which will make DSP slightly simpler, minimal tuning. When I say minimal tuning, I don't agree with having to tune really hard. If you are, then there's something naturally that's wrong, or something natural that's wrong. Your alignment's off, or you've got a phase problem. You know, tune in for long periods of time. If the car's sort of proven good and you're just trying to, like if you're competing or anything like that and you're trying to just eke those sort of points out, fine. But on standard sort of car audio systems, if you're having to tune, like if you're forced to tune around things, chances are there's something physically wrong. So this is where we can spend a little bit more time getting all of the drivers aligned properly and installed as well as we can, and just basically in the best scenario, so that anything that has to act upon the system is minimal. Sound is, you know, it likes as free a run as it possibly can. So yeah, minimal links in the chain. Anyway, that's Ollie's Mk4. I hope you kind of enjoyed and understood the story. Like I say, there's a lot of people that will ask, you know, why are you working on that kind of thing. Ollie's Mk4, and we've done it, and it sounds fantastic. Let's have a little listen inside, and then we're going to say goodbye. So I'm Carl, it's Studio Incar.
I can't jump high, but I hear all the notes. I can't be you, no. I can't be you, but I can be true, no. I want to be friends. I want to be friends till time ends, yes. And I can't escape, I get blown away when you come my way.